Hello everybody. We're going to do something a little bit different this year for the winter general staff meeting. Between conflicts down with wreath production and the end of the school schedule and just the timing of a couple of other things, made it impossible to do a meeting that we could schedule in the middle of the workday. So what you'll see for the rest of this video is actually the slideshow that I normally present in that meeting with my voice behind it, and then I'll come back at the very end to wrap things up. So I thank you and encourage you to please watch all the way through this. And just to encourage folks to make it all the way through the end, there is a slide later in the presentation which features Kathy Bertolet. Since she has been not particularly cooperative at letting HR take her picture over the years, we have a group picture that includes her. So if you can tell me in an email in response to this who she is standing behind in that picture, you'll be entered into a drawing for $100 in Duffy Bucks. And to sweeten the pot, in the very center of that picture is a Hall of Fame baseball player. If you can tell me who that person is, you'll be entered into another drawing for 100 Duffy Bucks. So keep you interested as you continue to watch through this. So we are in day 2 of the 3rd week of this year's wreath season. I want to start simply by expressing mine and the board's extreme gratitude to all the staff who have made this season as successful as it has been. Your focus on being adaptable and available and constantly motivating to the students to get down there and benefit from the experience and to help the process just move forward is extraordinary. This wreath production, we always say, is probably the fullest representation of Boys Republic's vocational mindset. And it gives our students the most complete representation of a full day's work when they leave Boys Republic. We're blessed to have a number of vocational opportunities around the program that provide our students with skills necessary to succeed when they leave. But it's hard to say that anything provides the real world environment and the day length that represents what they really need to prepare themselves for when they head out into the world. So again, for all the reasons why wreath season is so important to us, I thank you all, and please extend my thanks to the students that have been a part of making this work. Boys Republic is incredibly fortunate to have the kind of mission that we do that pulls us into work on a daily basis, motivated to make the kinds of changes for the students in our care that we do. But it's the people we do that work with that makes this place so special. And I thank the Fund Committee for all that they do, for looking for opportunities to bring all of our staff together to help us get to know each other in greater ways, to bring people in from the extremities of the agency who don't interact with each other nearly as much, and ultimately just to increase the amount of enjoyment that we have in the workplace. You can see from this slide the variety of things that they do and plan. We had the casino night earlier in the year, and since the mid-year point, we've had the Staff Appreciation Day, the Jersey Day, and the Halloween costume lunch, where so many of our Fund Committee are noted in this picture. So I'd like each of you to join me in expressing our gratitude to them for constantly looking for ways to improve our workplace experience and to bring us together in ways that we get to know each other even more. Our project that was 4 years in the making got to its opening ceremony on October 2nd. For those of you that are not here on the main campus for your primary assignment, the Kitchen and Culinary Center has been completed and is fully in operation at this point. We have classes going in the new training kitchen. We have the expanded bakery, which is at full speed with a couple of new additions in there as well. We're fully operational in the new kitchen itself, the new production kitchen. And we have the staff Halloween party featured in the previous slide in the new bistro. I want to give a shout out to Kim and the entire construction crew and folks who helped bring this vision that you see in this picture to real life as you see it now that it's on the campus. And I want to thank Joe and Frank and the rest of the kitchen team for their work with the architects in getting down to the every detail of what exists in there. So we've got an incredible new building for expanded teaching opportunities for our students, certainly to make it so that we can continue to make and serve our students and our staff for the next 70 years. And a bistro which is already starting to show a great deal of promise in terms of the uses that it has in the community. The Thanksgiving bakery sale that was moved into the bistro thanks to the rainy weather was the largest single day bakery event we've had since the beginning of doing the farmers market or the on property sales. It was truly impressive the way this year's sale had happened, the planning that went into pre-ordering, certainly the planning that goes into making all of the product. Again, I'd mentioned we had a couple of new staff that had been added to the bakery team in there. Sam and Daisy were a huge part of helping the current team kind of get this accomplished this year. And I had the opportunity to spend a great deal of time during this year's sale. You can see me looking very supervisory in this picture, like I'm actually trying to do something there and look as busy as the actual bakery and kitchen staff. But actually, I got to witness incredible teamwork. One of the things that I often highlight to the new staff when we meet for lunch is the way our staff pull together to do whatever's necessary in whatever environment. And in the days before the sale, every time I walked through the kitchen, I witnessed kitchen staff fully engaged with the bakery team in preparing the various items, packaging them. And the day of the sale was like so many others we've seen in the past, where there were folks that made it from other parts of the agency, out of the program building, out of the admin building, to be part of the team helping that day be successful. And it was noteworthy that, for instance, Joe, Kelly, and Ben were present in that sale space the entire first day of that sale and were a part of making it happen. So again, I use them as an example of one of the things that I think makes Boys Republic great, which is nobody gets too locked in and defined as to this is my job assignment. We all generally step up like we do during wreath production and put on whatever hats necessary to do whatever's in the agency and usually the student's best interest. So congratulations on an incredible sale in there. So it didn't take long for the bistro to become attractive to the community as well. What you have pictured here is the Rotary Christmas party that was held there last Monday. We already have two community groups meeting in the bistro weekly. We have that same Rotary group every Tuesday morning and a business roundtable group every Thursday morning. We've already hosted a luncheon for the mayor of Chino Hills. We've moved my introductory staff lunches from the community and into the bistro, giving folks a chance to see what our folks can do. And the school has already moved towards lunches or dinners there for Cottage of the Month and Student of the Month. It's much like when we started the bakery and it grew exponentially right away. We're seeing that in terms of the bistro really being a way for us to do some more creative things in-house, but also a way for us to extend the reach of Boys Republic and bring the kinds of folks you see pictured here into the fold as friends and supporters for the agency, so that we're always maintaining the strongest relationship with the community that we possibly can. So if you've been with us for a couple of years, you realize that the car show really never ends. We are seamlessly planning the next year while while producing the current year, and this year is absolutely no exception. So this year we will be celebrating the 75th anniversary of the movie The Great Escape, and have a host of things already planned that staff will marvel at if you haven't seen the show before, and will certainly have the opportunity to jump in and be a part of. The Steve McQueen Rally will do its usual job of kickstarting the events for the car show this year, happening in late April and traveling throughout the San Diego Valley area with a couple of nights at the Pala Resort. In its very short run, it has already proven to be an incredible friend maker for the organization, as the folks that have joined the rally have tended to get a bit more one-to-one and intimate time with committee members and the McQueen family, and several have converted from being attendees to being part of the planning committee and part of the folks that support Boys Republic so generously. We have hosted screenings of the movies for the last couple of years, both at the local Harkins Theater and last year in our own gymnasium. This year, we're incredibly fortunate to be able to have the famous Chinese Theater in Hollywood partnering with us for the showing of The Great Escape. So the name of that theater depends on what age group you're with. So if you know it as the Mann's Chinese Theater, then you're older like me. Grauman's Chinese Theater, you're somewhere a little younger than that. And now the title sponsor down there is TCL. So it's still the same Chinese theater at the center of Hollywood in the Walk of Fame there. So lots of McQueen imagery in the foreground and in the theater itself. So it makes for an incredible environment for us to do a different kind of fundraiser tied to the car show this year. We've made it a habit to use these updates as a chance to let folks know where we are in the STRTP process. So I'm very pleased to say we've gotten to the place where all the licenses are permanent at all of our sites. We have fully operational mental health contracts for each of our sites. And we have begun the process of having mental health aftercare initiated along with our traditional Boys Republic aftercare. All of these are requirements that we needed to get into motion and have done so. And as of the beginning of this next year, January 1st, we should have all of our care coordinators fully engaged in the mental health contract with new caseworkers hired behind them into each of the cottages. So we are moving forward and have been heavily involved in just a variety of processes designed to bring about the most integrated and collaborative effort from the various folks on the treatment teams for the ultimate benefit of our students. You may have heard us say this before, but Boys Republic is blessed with land, with an endowment, and with incredible donors, supporters, and board members. But we undoubtedly, our greatest asset is all of you. It's the people who come in on a daily basis and bring their individual talents and strengths towards this collective effort. And we know we're incredibly fortunate to have each and every one of you. Sticking with the theme of assets, I'd like to highlight something that was mailed to each of you over the last few weeks or so. This is a retirement income statement that was personalized to you in the one you received in the mail. This is a sample one that I'd like to focus on just a little bit, just so each of our staff understands one of the ways Boys Republic invests in them. So Boys Republic values tenure. We value people that make this a career and commit to long-term relationships with our students. So in addition to your 401k plan, you also have a pension at Boys Republic. And what we want to do with this document is show you a little bit of how you can see how that accumulates over time. So this particular person is someone who started with us back in 2006 and at this point is 43 years of age. So what you want to see in this as you go down is right now that person has accumulated to this point $694 a month towards their pension benefit, and that is 100% vested at this point, meaning it is all theirs. So at the 5-year mark, everything that you've got in the pension is yours and it stays there. If you leave before 5 years, unfortunately, that benefit does not stay with you. This form also shows what you have done so far in terms of contributing to your own 401k. So that is a total amount in this person's 401k, and this number below shows that if that amount was taken at this point, or if that was the total amount when this person hit retirement, it would amount to the $444 a month to be added to their retirement income. So where this statement is really helpful is that it does projections for you from your current age to your retirement age. So if you move down to the bottom half of this statement, you see with just taking this person from age 43 to the retirement age of 65, that pension benefit moves from $694 to $2,005, and that is strictly a function of being older, so having hit 65 and having had 22 more years of employment with us. This number doesn't take into account future raises, so it will undoubtedly be higher, as those of you that have been with us for any length of time know that we almost always have a little something that's happening every year. In my 26 years in the agency, there's only been 1 year where we weren't able to do raises, and even in that year we gave bonuses. So this is the moving forward number on the pension. This is that person's projected balance in their 401k, simply contributing at the same amount they are right now with an estimated return of 6% annually, with the extra 22 years of contributing to that. And that total number breaks out to a monthly benefit of the $2,053. So then you add in what is projected by the actuary to be that person's Social Security benefit, and that pension number, that 401k number, and that Social Security number all add up to a monthly retirement benefit of $5,573. What I will offer to folks as they look at this is to let them know in nearly every case we looked at, that bottom number is actually larger than the person's final retirement pay in the agency. So the combination of that pension, that 401k, and Social Security, if it still manages to be there for all of us, is actually putting us in a position so that when we retire, we're retiring at the same earning level we were while working, which is truly a retirement benefit worth holding on to and contributing. This can tend to get a little complicated. I'm certain that there are questions, even with my desire to make it a little bit easier to understand by going through this. So please, you can come in, speak to me at any time on this. Betty is there to explain as well, and will help you understand your sheet as much as you possibly can. As we talk about our staff throughout the agency, I wanted to share this particular quote that I've seen on multiple occasions relating to the idea of teamwork. It simply says, "I can't do what you do, you can't do what I do, but together we can accomplish anything." I'd like for all of us to approach our work and our interactions with everybody else around the agency with this kind of humility and this kind of appreciation. Reality is, we're in the business of working with kids and trying to bring about certain changes. And certainly, the cottage staff are the ones in the heart of that endeavor on a daily and minute to minute basis. And those of us in my building, we don't do what they do. We don't do the direct line work with the kids. But then again, the folks in the cottages have nothing to do with the financial side of the agency, or keeping the lights on, or keeping the agency fiscally afloat. And then neither of us have anything to do with making sure the lights actually function and the plumbing functions and that all the various maintenance needs we have around the campus. And this example extends to what the folks in the kitchen do and what the folks in the school do. And ultimately, it's just a big metaphor for the fact that we are a large team of individual folks, individual gifts and talents that we bring, and we're all reliant on each other to get to the final point. And when we bump into each other and we get frustrated with each other, I just encourage each of us to step back a little bit and take a moment to appreciate what the other brings to the table in getting us to our desired endpoint on a daily basis. Like I said before, we value tenure, and we certainly value people who make Boys Republic a career. And I like to highlight that at this time of year when I go through this. So some of you may not know that Rich Poland called it a career with us just recently. Unfortunately, Rich's 20 years could have gone longer, but he had some physical and health related challenges that caused him to have to call it a career with us. But as you can see, he made his impact all over the agency, and his most current assignment was out in the Monrovia Day Treatment Program. Mary, like Rich, made her impact all over the agency in a variety of roles. You can see she was with us for 28 years and finished that service time with a brief little stint in the Boone House after having been the assistant and brewer for a number of years. Jerry retired in August as well after 31 years with the agency and didn't have as many assignments as Rich and Mary did, having moved pretty quickly out of a social worker role and into the role of the development director, but it occupied that post for quite a while and made a tremendous impact. It's hard to imagine that someone like Jan could work with us for 37 years, and some of you might not know who she is. But this is a really good example of one of those behind the scenes folks that not everybody in the agency necessarily deals with. Jan's role as the executive assistant to Max before me is largely one that serves the executive director and the board of directors. And then for the last few years, she moved out of that role and into accounts payable. So again, one of the folks that did a tremendous amount of work for the agency as a whole, but want to make sure each of you had a chance to see her as well. On our way to celebrating those retirements, we like to highlight anniversaries along the way. So with that, we have several 5-year anniversaries that came up in this past quarter. So we've got Liz Goldhammer, who is in development. That's actually over here in the administration building. And Liz was preparing herself for the first 4+ years and has taken over that development director role that Jerry Marcotte just retired from. And Maria Mesa, who is coming back to us after a maternity leave and resuming her previous duties out at Eagles Landing, has also hit a 5-year anniversary. Erin Berea has reached 5 years and started with us up in McCormick Cottage and got pulled down into the program building as an assistant to Sterling and Jody in HR, and these days is heavily involved with that, and you can often see her as a big part of the onboarding of new staff, often walking them around and helping them kind of get those first day tasks worked out. Anthony Lee has also reached 5 years and is an assistant supervisor over in Laws Cottage. Idanya and Randall have both reached 5 years. Idanya started out in the cottages as well. She was in Hunt Cottage and moved over to security to help out while she was working on a master's degree. And Randall started in Laws Cottage and has just recently been promoted to the supervisor in the Combs house. Jessica and Shane have both reached 5 years as well. Jessica, like the others, started off in the unit. She actually started off in the independent living program and then got pulled into the program building, and we recently snatched her from the program building and brought her on over to the administration side, and she's in there doing the accounts payable position that Jan just retired from. Shane, like so many of us, has been in multiple places and spent quite a few years over in McCormick Cottage before becoming the assistant in Hunt Cottage. All right, we're jumping to some longer anniversaries with us. As I look at Lisa, I realize I might need to send Lance some Angels tickets, because both Lisa and Jessica are folks that we recently brought over to the administration building from the program building. So I may have a debt there. But Lisa is celebrating her 10 years with us, and has worked in both the program building and the administration building. With her being at the front desk, I'm certain she's someone that most of you know, is incredibly helpful and skilled in all that she does. And then Arturo has 15 years with us in the kitchen, and that's probably someone that many of you don't know, because he's always been in the kitchen and he's generally back there just working away. So I encourage you, if you come through at some point, and take a tour, poke your head back there and say hello and congratulate him for the length of time he's been with us. Continuing to move on with longer tenure with the agency, here we've got Rob Jackson, who has 20 years with us. And Rob spent the majority of those in the independent living program, but recently has been brought over into a QA position within maintenance, as part of some of the contract obligations we have with our mental health contracts. In addition to that, Rob has been helpful with the drug dog scheduling and program on weekends and going through the units. And he's also lived in the Eagles Landing apartments as one of the staff, kind of folks who have oversight down there for a number of years now. And then Deb, who has reached a 25-year anniversary with us. It goes a lot to say Deb started her tenure back in Brewer Cottage when I was in there and Duffy was the supervisor, and somehow the two of us did not manage to scare her off or run her off. So we're incredibly happy that she's reached 25 years with us, and had a daughter who spent a little bit of time with us once upon a time as well. So you've reached the contest slide. So here it's interesting. We are celebrating 30 years of Kathy Bertolette being employed in the agency, and she's done just about everything in the business office during that time. And most of you know that she's been the heart of the car show since its beginning 12, 13 years ago. Amazing. One of her skills is to be around for 30 years and not have a good, profile shot for HR. So spend a little time on this slide, see if you can't find her in there. And remember, let me know who she's standing behind in an email back to me, and it will enter you into that drawing. All right, so you can quietly or loudly, wherever you're at, give a round of applause, because Tanya Miller, 35 years with the agency, is truly impressive. Tanya is currently the supervisor of Pomona Residence. I doubt there's anybody who doesn't know who Tanya is, but she has worked all throughout various cottages and other departments in the agency, and continues to make an incredible impact over there after all these years. And we've gotten to the slide that necessitated me doing this in this format this year, as opposed to waiting to do something in person, because tomorrow the great majority of staff will see a Christmas bonus in their paycheck. That should be there for nearly everybody except the very newest staff among us. And on January 1st, there will be an increase in all staff's checks at that point. So this bonus and increase are technically, they're added to amounts that those of you that were with us back on July 1st received, and they represent your total annual increase. If you remember, we talked about moving towards a 6-month process where we give a little bit every 6 months. However, this year's been quite a generous year that the board and administration have been able to give to staff So we're pleased that this is continuing to come, and your supervisor will be able to discuss with you, if they haven't already, exactly what you'll be receiving when it comes, both in tomorrow's paycheck and with the increase in January. In addition to that, we like to say thank you to all the staff at this time of year with a couple of other nice things. So there will be Duffy Bucks for all the campus-based teams to do Christmas parties in their teams, and in the community programs, we just give you some money to do that in your own community in a different way. For those of you that responded to the invite from Chris to fill out your size, you pre-ordered a winter hoodie that should be coming in fairly soon, and she'll get those distributed out to all of you. And I really want to focus and encourage those of you that haven't responded yet to RSVP to the staff and family Christmas brunch on December 20th. We haven't been able to do it for the last 2 years in this particular way because of construction in the kitchen. We've done a small thing for staff, but it was always one of our Christmas traditions that we do a much larger, nicer Christmas brunch where you were able to bring in family, spouses, loved ones to join, just to share a little bit with your BR family. And for them, many times it might be their first time to come and see where you work, where you spend so much time. And the environment almost always goes a long way to help them feel reassured about where you are spending so much time. Hello there, guys, back with you. In closing, I just want to thank everybody again for all the efforts that they put into making Wreath Production successful. I want to thank you for the everyday efforts that everybody's doing to make a difference in the lives of all of our kids and their families. We're hopeful that you'll enjoy seeing what comes in your Tuesday check in the form of a bonus for nearly all the staff. And again, I really want to encourage everybody to RSVP for the Christmas brunch on the 20th. The kitchen, typically the kitchen staff do an amazing job with that. We haven't been able to do that for the last couple of years. And it's a wonderful way to spend some holiday time together and to invite your loved ones in to see the place that you spend so much time. So again, Merry Christmas to everybody, and I thank you all.